Health Secretary Jeane Freeman says she's been given assurances by the UK government that suppliers of personal protection equipment had not been asked to divert orders from Scotland. It followed reports that companies had been told to only supply care homes in England with PPE. But tonight, the UK Chancellor denied that suppliers had been told to prioritise England over Scotland. Our correspondent David Henderson reports.
Westfield Care Centre in Shetland is one of more than 400 care homes around Scotland where residents have caught coronavirus, and here several have died in the last week. Staff in care homes need personal protective equipment, or PPE, to control the spread of the virus. That means masks, aprons, gloves and more, but getting them is proving a problem. We've seen emails which show key suppliers refusing to send PPE to care firms in Scotland. In this one, the supplier says, "We have strict guidelines from the Department for Health and Social Care that the stock can be sold to care homes, hospices and home care providers in England only." It goes on, there are 3 other distributors that will also be working on a similar basis. The customer is concerned.
We're hearing from certain suppliers that we deal with that they can't supply, or they're nationwide suppliers, but they're based in England, and they can't supply the care home operators that we deal with because we're not based in England. We have to come up with a solution that allows us to look after them first and foremost, that then allows those key workers to provide the best service they can. And that has to be at the front of this. It's not about profits, it's not about who gets preferential treatment, it's about protecting those in the front line.
And it's not just Scotland. Welsh care homes have been hit too. The boss of one big supplier was challenged over why you've been told to limit sales of this mask to England only. He replied, "Can I suggest you direct your attention to Public Health England or Department of Health and Social Care? We're only carrying out their instructions." It could have something to do with devolution, perhaps. Today, Scottish ministers voiced extreme concern.
We are urgently seeking clarity around this situation. I had intended to raise that personally with the UK Health Secretary today, but he has cancelled the planned call, so I have instead written to him to remind him that he specifically does not have my agreement to the centralisation of ordering or distribution of PPE, or to the diversion of orders placed in Scotland for destination to Scottish social care or the health service.
I would say from our perspective, there's been incredibly close coordinated action across our public health bodies and NHS bodies to make sure we have a four-nation approach to all of this. There's no truth in those stories that those companies have been told to prioritise PPE equipment.
Tonight, Scottish ministers say they're grateful for that reassurance. But this muddle and the row that's followed showed what's at stake in this crisis. The supply of protective equipment is quite literally a matter of life and death. David Henderson, reporting Scotland.
Well, I'm joined by our political reporter David Wallace-Lockhart now. David, the UK government emphasising the importance of the 4 nations working together.
Yeah, Laura, and we've seen that letter that Jeane Freeman, the Health Secretary, has written to our English counterpart Matt Hancock this evening, and in it she says that she knows of at least one company in England that has guidance that prevents it sending PPE to Scotland. She says that this is a contradiction and potential difficulty. She says she hopes it's a misunderstanding that can be resolved. The new normal we've largely got used to is the Scottish and UK governments working together on things like coordinating lockdown, organising the testing of key workers. Today was perhaps a reminder that that relationship still has the potential to turn sour. There are